Hi, this is Roger, thanks for dropping by. This will be part 3 of the massive repot, and this is repotting, not mounting this time round. This was what was left. I'm going to start by just going over what I've done, where the splits have been and why, and while I'm at it I'll put the cinnamon on the big cuts. I've just finished hacking these, giving them a good wash off in the sink. They had their hydrogen peroxide good thorough spray yesterday, which encouraged a few slimy little things to come out and fizz away in the sink. One yesterday, one today. So I have got some in the grow room. They're just very inconspicuous, they don't sort of show themselves very often. But anyway, what we've got is, let's just get my cinnamon ready because I haven't done the cuts yet. Some of these have got very few roots left, but so be it. Right, this is my little golden rialto. That has got plenty enough roots to get this going, and with its latest new growth coming, more roots will follow. There's a lot more roots here than I had last time round, so we'll get some cinnamon on the cut. So that's that one done. Got a very old bulb, another one with some leaves, the next one along, which was the one I was hoping would recover the plant with some leaves. Not a bad size, but certainly not full size, and now another one growing. So that one's coming on quite nicely. We've got somewhere to put all these now, just for a minute. Right, so the Soto Annum has had the whole of the back of the plant removed, leaving plenty of places that need cinnamon. Boy, did that had to get the heavy duty cutters out to deal with that. It's like a block of wood, that old part there. But despite being very firm, it could still do with sealing. Use up half my cinnamon on one plant. Don't think I've ever had to put that much cinnamon on a plant. The good thing is, the rhizome on this one looks clean, which I can't say the same for some of the other stuff we've got here. So that's that, and what's left of this, I've got congealed cinnamon on my hands. So what we've got here are the previous growths basically, and the new growths, one of which is coming out in an awkward place. This plant could have been split in two very easily. And I still might end up splitting it in two. I'd like to keep it as one. The reason this silly pseudo bulb is still there is because it's got a new growth coming out, otherwise I wouldn't have bothered. And we've got the silly one coming out round the back, and then the other new growth is round the front. So that's how that's going to get potted. Last minute decision as I try and get it in the pot might be to split it there, which it would split very, very easily there. That would give me a piece with a new growth at one side, a new one coming out this side, and this piece would have, oh, there's actually another little new growth down inside there that I hadn't seen, so this piece would have two growths as well. In fact, I'm going to do it. Basically, I haven't got pots big enough. That's going to come apart very easily there anyway. Right, that's made a mess, never mind. So, I've now got pieces that I can pot sensibly, which I will do. So that's one piece, and this will be the other piece, the larger piece. Let's make sure I get all these sheaths off as well. That's got a lot of roots on that piece, so we'll leave that as a single piece. So these previous bloom spikes cling to the sides of the pseudo bulbs and are very good hidey holes for the scale. So I hadn't already taken them off, but these they seem to hang on to the sides of the pseudo bulbs and follow their shape. They're very good hidey holes. Have them off while we're at it. Another one there. Well, we did have rather a lot, didn't we, if you remember? One of the pseudobulbs on this plant had 6 spikes coming out of it. 6. So I suspect this to recover reasonably quickly and get some vigour going. Get some nice new media, get some new roots on the go. So that's that piece. Now we come on to the, the large Varicosa, the Brassia. Now this can't stay as a large plant. I physically cannot accommodate it. Those 5 spikes were in the way. Wherever they were in the way. So the biggest piece I'm keeping is this piece, which has actually got 4 new growths on it. So again, that's going to be 4 spikes, but I've got it in a much more confined space. And I think one of my, I'll show you when I get the pots out, but I do have suitable pots for that size plant and that shaped plant. Given that the roots in the main decided to go round the top of the pot, it's not an obvious deep rooter, but it has got the dreaded purple ring on it, but it seems to live with it quite well. And not that long ago it did get sprayed with a systemic fungicide, and what's the date now? It's the 6th. Tomorrow they're due their next spray. Right, other pieces. This is what's left. There's a piece here, a single piece with 2 growths on. 2 new growths, that is, which will push out new roots very, very soon. They have started, yeah? So that's a piece. And then I've got 2 more pieces with single growths. Now, one of those is going to one side to go to somebody else. That'll be that one, to grow on, basically. And then this piece, which has virtually no purple on it at all, so it would seem that this may be growing away from it. Would I have treated it in the past? Possibly. As part of a routine spray, that could have already had some treatment. But those 2 pieces, which gives me 3 new growths, are going in the same pot to get a nice pot full, if you see what I mean. Somehow with the 3 growths, 2 old pseudobulbs strapped together in the middle, 3 new growths around the outside to make effectively what looks like a new plant. Even though it's 2 plants in the same pot, it will look like one and be grown on like one. So, and then that one is just going to get potted up on a temporary basis. Because where that's going, it will probably get taken straight out and go on a mount. There's no point in making a big deal out of it. But, right, so that's what I've got. I'm just going to clear up a bit, get some media, and so now you know what's happening, what I've got and what I'm going to do with it. The actual potting process, you don't need to see all of that, but I will show some of it. There will be 2 types of media. My Golden Rialto needs to stay moist, so that's going to have smallish bark with charcoal and perlite. We're demossing and trying to get rid of moss as best I can. But what I will do is just incorporate a little bit of live moss, if I've still got enough left, just on the top to make it look nice and help keep the top moist. It seals in the moisture. Then the Soto Annum has got an incredibly fine root system, so that's going in the same media, very fine media to accommodate that fine root system. But with the charcoal and the perlite and a shallow pot, I should be able to keep it moist when I want to, but not soggy when I don't want to. And then the Brassia will go in a much larger media because that needs a lot more air around its roots. It'll still get some charcoal and some perlite, but instead of being small bark, I'll move probably up to medium. So that's what's going to happen. I'll show some of it, and I'll be back in a bit. Okay, I decided to break off at this particular point on the grounds that once I unloaded the camera there was far too much for a single video. So that's part 3, and part 4 will be the rest.